Hello, good evening, and welcome to a FB4 Special on the day where Jurgen Klopp has committed his future to Liverpool until 2026. We don't usually do shows on Thursday. Thursday night, I'm usually here, seeing if anybody wants to play Warzone from about 9 till 11. Nobody plays, and then I fuck off and watch Only Fools and Horses on a loop. So, Jurgen Klopp has picked his moment well at Thursday. We had Thursday free, and I got a gang together. I have Emmet, I have Davo, and I have Phil. Just to let you know, Phil, I broke the news to Phil today. Liverpool Football Club did not break the news to Phil today. I did, by saying, would you like to do a show tonight? He said, yeah. What's the agenda? I said, Klopp. He went, great. Why? And I went, he signed a new deal, Phil. And he went, oh my fucking God, get the boat. And then he went and checked it and believed it. But Jurgen Klopp has committed to Liverpool until 2026. It's unbelievable news. On the eve, well, just about the eve of another massive Premier League game. We have a Champions League semi-final second leg to look forward to, an FA Cup final to look forward to. Basically winning the quadruple, and he's thrown this in on top. Because his missus said, no, I'm not going home in 2024, which is sound. Phil, we're going to look at, we can go back and look on big Klopp moments, but I want to start with...
Can I just stop you there?
Yeah, of course you can, because I can have a drink. Yeah, walk away.
You can have a drink your cans there, right? I just want to point out that if anyone was watching the show last Wednesday, they would have known that Jurgen Klopp was signing this deal. Mm-hmm. As I closed out the show, should be microphones fell. As I closed out the show, I did. If you can smell what the Klopp is cooking in response to the People's Champions show, yeah. And that was it. Had anyone been paying attention, they would have known that Klopp was signing the deal today, right? So I actually broke the news.
Okay. Yeah, you broke the news and then completely forgot. And then when I told you...
It was a week later. It was over a week later.
It wasn't. It was 3 days later.
There's lots of things happening.
I think you done that on Monday.
Was it? I thought that was last week.
No, it was Monday. Like, it was literally 3 days ago. But
all these things. Been this since 2014. It's all the same.
All these days roll into one when you have fucking 7 personalities. I know what you're saying.
What's Skertle doing with himself? Is he coming back?
I don't know. But Phil... We'll definitely go back and look at big Klopp moments when he took over. We can do all that. We've done it in shows before, and look, any excuse to do it again. But I said earlier, this is monumental news. It can't be overplayed. How big is this, Phil? Is it the biggest signing the club has ever made?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest signing we've made since Kenny signed the deal to stay on as permanent manager with FSG. And that's not being facetious in terms of saying it, right? At that point in time, right? Given what we just gone through with Hodgson, given the reaction the team had after Kenny had taken over, and the goodwill factor that was sitting there within the club at that point in time, it was probably the last time we felt so positive and upbeat about what the future looked like, because we felt like we had our club back. This is even bigger again. Because I think the biggest concern we had was that we knew his deal was finished in 2024. We knew that he had intentions to take a sabbatical because he said it himself. But to do it now ends all that. It destroys the positivity our rivals have. Even the City fans are going to be so pissed off, right? And even the players of the other teams are going to be so pissed off. It's like, I can't wait for the day that Pep says he's fucking off from City. Because that's going to be a clusterfuck, right? So, like, honestly, Klopp staying at Liverpool is the biggest news the club has had since FSG took over the club. And that's straight up. That's probably the biggest news we've had. To keep a guy who's going to be here 10 years. And I think the biggest compliment I can pay is that the Dortmund fans were a bit like us as a fan base last year when things started to go horribly wrong for Dortmund before he took the year off, right? And I'd say every single one of them to a man would bin off what they've done for every year since Klopp left to bring him back and have him there for all those years in between. And that's the biggest tribute you can pay. He's going to be here 10 years. It's just the best. It's the best thing, right? And I will say, though, Gav, when the time comes that this comes to an end, we saw what it looks like last year, because we saw how quickly those who want to voice their opinions of how brilliant they are at coaching and managing will be out with their knives sharpened and ready to go from. But for the majority of us who have been enjoying this roller coaster thrill ride that we've had since he's come on board, long may it continue. It's like when they open a new ride at Alton Towers. It's like this is like a super upside down, mega flipper, turn and twist roller coaster, and it's great. It's fantastic. It's the best Liverpool team we've ever seen. Best Liverpool team of all time. We're just unfortunate that we have a sports washing team that's ahead of us in the league, because there's not a team that can even can touch us outside of this Manchester City team. There's not a team in England has ever been at the level that Klopp has kept this team at for this length of time. Honestly,
Yeah, look, I just think it's absolutely huge, and it actually puts a load of more stuff into perspective. A little bit like the Salah deal, you know, is Salah happening? Is it not? And then this happens, and you're like, who? Not who gives a fuck, but it's kind of, we have him. If you have him for 4 years, anything is possible. You know what I mean? Because we were looking at Salah going, when he signs a deal, and when it comes around to a load of contracts, it's like, well, if he signs a deal and he's only there, is he going to sign, or will a player come to Liverpool because they know Klopp has gone in 2024? Now anyone signing for Liverpool, no, he's there for 4 years. A big chunk of their career, probably could be the most successful part of their career. It's absolutely huge. Emmet, what are you laughing at?
it's like when they opened up the yellow whale in Mosney.
Okay, they have
What
the
a
quad.
shout!
Okay.
What a shout!
Yeah, the Yellow Whale in Mosney. Anyone that doesn't know Mosney, it's a holiday camp just north of Dublin, which is now a home for refugees. So
Mosney in its heyday was like
it was excellent.
A 2-star Butlins. That's the best way to describe
It was fucking brilliant. It was. Dan Lowry's bar, absolutely amazing. Emma, I'll ask the same question to you, because I'm going to ask the same one to Davo. How big is this in your opinion, and how good do you feel after? Because everyone is just absolutely bouncing off the walls.
When it first kind of leaked this morning, I saw it and I was like, like, this is another one of these kind of clickbaits and whatever. And then it kind of started, and I got a few text messages from someone that works in the media, and I was like, all right, okay, hang on. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And I honestly thought it might take a few days. Look at what the Salah deal has taken. But then just for it to be like straight in, no kissing, and done in a matter of hours was unbelievable. It's my little lad's birthday today. It feels like all of my birthdays are today. Yeah. With this announcement. And I agree with Phil. It's absolutely massive. We're all old enough to remember when Kenny left. Obviously not old enough to remember when Shankly left, but I'm dreading the day that he leaves, and I was dreading 2024, and now it's pushed out by an extra 2 years, so I don't have to worry about that. But this is massive. I think it is probably one of the biggest signings for the club ever. In terms of impact on the club, like obviously Shankly set the ball rolling, Paisley took over, Kenny will be forever attached to the club. I think Klopp is well on the way to being seen in the same vein.
It's Phil has mentioned being like, this is the best side you've ever seen, and I think it's right up there with the best side Liverpool has ever seen, right? But there was kind of a thing where it was like, we're doing this, but there's only 2 more years of it. You know, you always had in the back of your mind, we're doing this, but now the bus seems like it's gone. It's just, we've kicked it down the road. We've kicked it double the amount of time down the road, and it's like, we're doing this, and it's fucking amazing, and we don't have to worry about that. Davo, biggest signing the club has ever made?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, you can go back to Shankly, who kind of started it all off and whatnot, but listen, none of us were around for any of that, and obviously he put everything in place. But Jesus, like, it's between him and Shankly, and like you said there, it's like you're flying, everything is going great, but it is in your head going, might only be 2 more seasons after this one, and for that to be put to bed. And look, I don't know about the rest. Is when he came in, if someone told me we would win a league and a Champions League and a League Cup, and fucking, I'd have taken your hand off. I'd have said absolutely fucking happy days. And he stays for 6, 7, whatever, how many years. If someone told me at the start we'd win that, I'd have taken your hand off with all the false stands and stuff like that we've had in the past. But no, unbelievable news, and fucking sure, like, happy days. Friday, tomorrow, Gav, and then Klopp signs this deal. What?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Friday already, as Colt Hurley would say. 28th of the 4th, 2022, says Tiernan. Mino Raiola dies, then rises from the dead, and Jogee signs a new deal. Mad day. Have you heard about Raiola, Phil?
What?
Raiola, the agent. Raiola. Have you heard about him? What happened today?
No.
Oh, you love
Honestly,
this. You
Gav,
love this.
I'm
No,
looking forward to
you love this. You love this. So a journalist
This is
out there-
actually right. This is actually right
right
up
up your
street.
street. This is fucking amazing.
That's-
Like, and don't shoot me down like that ever again, because you're going to think this is amazing, right?
Okay,
This is
go
up
on.
there with Venables and Robson, right? Let me put it that way to you. So, what's his name? Tancredi Palmieri, is that his name?
Yeah,
Legends.
that's him. Yeah.
Right,
Legends.
the journal.
Oh,
Well,
the
listen,
man-
listen. Let me just run you through the course of
Not-
events,
not-
and then
not
you
anymore,
can
he's
make a
not Phil.
discussion on it, right? So, Tancredi Palmieri comes out with a tweet today and says to report a 54-year-old agent, Mino Raiola, has passed away after a short illness. Okay? Everyone's like, oh my God, he's dead, blah, 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 blah. An hour later, Mino Raiola is on Twitter saying, update, not dead. Okay? So he tells people he's not dead. So then Tancredi Palmieri, I hope I have his name right, literally goes on Twitter and tells people that he's basically done his own confession. You know, like when you go to confession in church, and he's had a big word with himself, and instead of giving himself 3 Hail Marys, he's banned himself from Twitter for a week. It's absolutely fantastic, though. Now, Raiola is in hospital. He's not in a great way, but
He's not dead.
no, he's not dead.
He's
He's tweeted to say he's not dead. Okay, but he's not well. But
Honestly.
but listen, it's not fun. It's not funny the condition he has, but the way this man reported this, and then when it all came out, the man wasn't dead. The way he literally self-confessed himself at church, more or less, and instead of giving himself 3 Hail Marys or a decade of the Rosary, he basically said, "I'm banning
I'm
myself
off for a
from
week.
Twitter." But there will be tweets. There will be what was it?
Tweets to do with his job.
Tweets to do with his job, but nothing
Not
from his
his
own
own
mouth for a
thoughts.
week. So there you go, Phil. Don't ever shoot me down again, bro.
That's immense. That's immense. I'm going to ring Tancredi and see if he wants to come to the War Games with me in Birmingham and Alabama, because I think he's the type of guy who'll break the news before they even finish the results. He'll know who's going to win the games. It's sports entertainment.
Laura Duffy has got the tweet from Mino Raiola here, and it says, "Current health status for the ones wondering. Pissed off, second time in 4 months they kill me. Seems also able to resuscitate." So
That's great.
yeah, it's fucking
How does he
fantastic.
do contracts if he can't write English?
No,
Like, seriously.
genuinely, it was absolutely mental.
Can I just remind people of what Bob Shankly once said, right? He said that the strength of the team is each individual member, and the strength of each member is the team. And that to me encapsulates what's gone on today. Because you know the way Klopp said it wasn't just him who signed the contract. It's his coach and team that signs the contract. And it also says to me that he plans to keep the players he wants to keep as the cornerstones of this team. And like of all people, like Bob Shankly is the man who set up this club and took us on the way to the top. And if he's saying that to me is what is. And then I think what Jurgen Klopp said just before Christmas when we were talking about the Champions League, and in the interview he said the most we can hope for is to create the best possible conditions for success, then let go of the outcome, because the ride is always a lot more fun that way. And that to me symbolises Liverpool Football Club in a nutshell, right? It's like it's ultimately, and the one he said in the game before the
People are wondering why you're saying Bob Shankly.
Yeah, but
what?
Well,
Why wouldn't I say Bob Shankly?
Phil does this where he says Bob Shankly and Bill Paisley. Okay, so just so people know that it's a
I
long.
was waiting to see who's going to be the first one to put it in.
It's a long running thing. But
I used to be Bob Shankly on Twitter as well. So
yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
But
to me, this is the essence. When Klopp does his little video today, and because when after Gav told me that, I did go on to find out, is this real? Right? Because I thought this was just a wind up. I thought the lads were having a bit of a laugh there in the group and stuff like that, because I'm not part of those group chats, and I just thought this is a wind up to try get me going on Twitter or something like that, because I haven't been on ages. And I went down and saw the video, and I will say I did get a little bit emotional watching it, right? Because it was like it tugs at your heartstrings. This is a man who's brought immense joy to us as a fan base, and he's brought hope when it seemed like we would never win the league again, and he's brought a league title, and we're on the verge of doing 3 Champions League finals in the amount of time he's been with the club. That's immense. That's immense, and it's like you are allowed to get emotional. You are allowed to feel it. Like it's huge, and for me, it's just like when he came in, I never thought we'd get to reach the heights that we have, and I was delighted. I was absolutely. I can't state how happy I was, and people go back and listen to the podcast. Then it was just we were just overjoyed. We were overjoyed with what it was. There's Klopp and pot noodles and stuff like that Andy drew up as one of the graphics for the podcast. But this is better than you can imagine, because I honestly thought it was over. I was here at Christmas time. I said, this is the enjoy this, because this is the last dance. This is the last ride with him. So it's just, to me, it's just brilliant. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
For anyone that, like, I'm sure everyone has seen, Klopp has done an interview with LFC TV, and basically what he says is that, you know, he has signed on for an extra 2 years, bringing him to 2026. His coaching staff are also signed on till 2026, which he wanted to point out that was probably the most important part of the deal. He basically said he was sitting at the kitchen table with his wife Ula, and she turned and says, 2024, I can't really see us leaving here in 2024. He was a bit shocked by this, so they had a chat. He spoke to Pep Linders, and he's at pains to say that Pep Linders was one of the most important conversations he had to have, because the link he has with Pep Linders goes beyond, you know, on the training ground every day or at Liverpool Football Club every day. They seem to be really, really close friends and kind of companions in football. And Pep Linders straight away says, yeah, I'm in. And you can read an awful lot into that, because maybe Pep Linders was being lined up for 2024 and Klopp says, I want to do it till 2026, and Pep goes, yeah, fine, no problem, I'm all in. And then they're open for any negotiation, and it's done, and he does sign till 2026. Davo, I'll come back to you though. You know, it's been a mad day. It's been one of those where it did break early this morning. It was kind of rumbling on, and then bang, this afternoon it's announced. And we're in a great position, Davo. You know what I mean? We're in a brilliant position where we are. We're in a brilliant position off the pitch, on the pitch. But what does this do for us going forward in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years? Because I think I said it to Shawnee earlier, it's like when you're in a race with someone and you're well ahead, and then you fucking kneecap the person that you're against as well. Because that's the effect I think it's not an appointment, this extension is going to have on Liverpool and others.
Well, look, I think it just keeps our foot in the throat of the rest of the league, to be honest with you. Because you're looking at a lot of talk in the last week or so, or whatever. Ten Hag is coming in at United, and what do they need to do, and blah blah blah. And a lot of the commentary coming back, and from a lot of pundits and ex-pros and stuff like that, is some of it has been centered around when Klopp and Pep go, and some of them obviously thinking that this will be 2 years' time. Ten Hag might be in a couple of years, get his act together. Klopp will go, Pep will go. You know, you can get their act together and whatnot. That goes out the window now straight away. It gives the continuity. It was Paul Joyce. I think he dropped in that midfielder from Monaco's name as well, didn't he? In the same article, Tchouaméni. So it looks like he's obviously one that we're looking at. Seems this one kind of seems a little bit like Kanate last year, kind of open secret type of thing. Maybe it could be further down the road than people think. So he's trying to make he's trying to make a second great side, and he wants to sign it. He's obviously after getting the green light from the missus, and he wants to sign on and stay there and put a second great side together.
You know, I think he is going to try and make a second great side. I think the rumour going around there and following the announcement was that he wants Salah, he wants Mane, and he wants, I think, even Milner sorted out ASAP, because he's always gone on about how happy he is with the squad. You know, we're always looking for new signings and we want new things, and that's fine. And you always you think where get that player because he'll improve this, that, and the other. But look, this man knows best, and I just think even the way it was brought across today in the announcement itself, you know, in the snippets of the interview I've seen. I haven't gone and watched the whole interview. I will later on. But even the way it was brought across, even the pictures that were released, the little snippets, like the first thing that comes out is he's in front of the camera saying, I'm in love with this club and I feel fine, because it's just a reference to the song about him. Emmet, there's been a few people on this podcast over the last while, and other podcasts, I'm sure. I don't watch them, the other ones. But there was a lot around his wife being the key to this. You know, Klopp at times can look stressed, tired, a little bit down, maybe a bit drained, especially during COVID and what happened with his mother and what was going on with the club on the pitch at the time. But there was a lot made about his wife, and if she kind of gave the go-ahead, this would happen. You know, she's in the away end at Man City, and there's videos going around of where she's on a concourse, and Liverpool fans are singing this song, and she's joining in.
She's dancing to the song.
Yeah, but does that just show how kind of humbling this family are, where they don't make a big song and dance about this? They're sitting at a kitchen table and go, yeah, you know what? It's not an agent pushing it. It's not an agent throwing his name at Barcelona or Real Madrid. It's just a really humble experience where a husband and wife have a conversation, and this is what it leads to.
Yeah, I think she was always going to play a big part in it, because I think Klopp has been on record as saying that what he wanted to do was to take a break out to do the travelling that he didn't necessarily get to do, because he went straight from playing in 2001 into managing Mainz. So he's literally had very little time off in 20 years. So it was always, I would imagine, gonna be a massive decision between the two of them. But when I saw her dancing on the concourse with the lads singing the song, I thought, that's it, signed and sealed. But she was also at the bus parade, the open top bus parade, I think, as well, wasn't she? Like she was standing up on top of an electrical kind of a box or something like that. But she seems to really enjoy it. And look, they seem really close as well. They're a close couple, and I would imagine that I'd imagine his kids were probably involved in it as well. I know they're grown up in that, but he did say that it would always be a family decision. Some of the other things that have come out as well is, and I don't know how true they are, but he claims he wants to start a dynasty, and I think in the past he's actually referred to the Boot Room Boys as a dynasty. So it's like they're trying to recreate what they had back in the 80s, early 90s. And I was one of the ones that thought, when he said about the Pep Linders thing, that he may have had to speak to him because he was due to take over. More so, will you stay with me?
That's what came across today when you mentioned it, wasn't it?
Yeah. I thought it was more so, do you mind, rather than do you stay? Will you stay? Do you know what I mean? Do you mind if I actually stay? I'd say she was kind of really high up on the list of people making the decisions with him. And he said it himself. She turned around and kind of nearly put it in his mind.
Phil, I've seen tweets going back a year, 18 months ago from journalists and, pundits. I don't know, I'll use both of them references lightly. But basically saying that Klopp will finish up at Liverpool and he will take over in Germany as the German national manager. After 7 years, Klopp will have enough and leave. Now, listen, there could be an unmitigating disaster here, and in a year's time he could leave, and after 7 years he's gone from Liverpool, but he's committed himself to Liverpool, which would leave him about 10 years in the job. What does it do? What's it do to other clubs, Phil? Because surely there is clubs out there going, he'll be gone in 2024. What does it do to the mindset of other clubs around us, not only in England but around Europe, and other managers as well, where they look and they go, wow, this fella is just fucking relentless, and he's apt, because if he's committing himself to this field, he's all in. He doesn't do half measures.
Well, just to close out the wife talk, right? I think that she supposedly, I'll probably come out in the press later on, she supposedly closed the conversation with someone to him saying, well, Jurgen, just remember, it's more fun to be a pirate than to join the Navy, when it came to the discussion around him going back to Germany. And
don't know what that means.
Well, there you go. You're not meant to. That's why she's the boss, Gav. That's what it's all about.
And he went, right? So am I signing this deal? Or what the fuck is going on?
He's one of the pirates.
He rang Pep Linders and goes, listen, what's she on about? Pirates and fucking, what's going on here?
Bang. He says, well, we're not going anywhere now. She says we're the pirates, so we're staying here. That's happy days.
He asked Johnny Depp about it, and he gave him
don't go there.
What it does to is it doesn't look like what it does is probably just ends any chance of Steven Gerrard becoming Liverpool manager, which is a good thing. What it does is, I don't know. I don't know, Gav. And the reason why I say 10 years is an awful long time, and eventually football does catch up. It's very hard for managers to have ultra long longevity in the game, and very few achieve it. Like Ferguson is a freak that way, that he went for so long, and kept them at the top for so long. But he did spend 7 years trying to get them to the top. So it wasn't like that he started at the very top and worked there. It took, Jurgen, 2 years to get us to more or less the challenging for league titles and European Cups. And he's kept us there since. And if he does this 4, you're doing about another 9 years in terms of having us at the top in terms of what's there.
Is that why it's key, Phil, that he talks about his coaching staff, because they are younger than him, and they have new ideas, and he's spoken openly about Pep Linders coming in and being so fucking bouncing off the wall when he comes in, because he's thought of something new to do, and it's fresh all the time.
Well, yeah. It's the key thing that Ferguson did at United. He sat at the top as essentially as the CEO in the room and let the coaches do their job. Right? He wasn't the one that was bringing new coaching or techniques or whatever. He listened to what they had to do, allowed them to do, gave his input, and ultimately they coached the teams, and he put the winning mentality into the team. And when you think of Klopp, like, he's been there. How long is he coaching now? You had Dortmund at the top of 2012. We're talking over 10 years now in terms of being at the top level at the top rung of coaching, a bit like Guardiola, right? And we're talking, this takes him up to about 15, 16 years in terms of where it's going to be. And to stay there, revitalising and replenishing your own ideas and your own methodologies and your own tactics and your own pieces is key to that longevity. So it's a huge...
And being open as opposed to other people's input as well. Not a dictatorship, because he's very open about the input of his coaches, Phil. Like,
and therein lies why it's very hard to see him going. Like, ultimately, what was it? It was really only the German job, we think. Bayern Munich. Would he go to Bayern Munich though, given the whole thing that was there?
I'm not too sure he would, but that's what I'm saying. Do you see him? Do you see this, like, if he goes to 2026, he'd be 58 years of age? Do you see that where he just goes, that's it, I'm done?
I think it's like, I think there's a possibility that he may see out to 2030 with Liverpool, and I don't mean, like, there is an option there to extend it, but I think that ultimately relies on how does this period of success continue for a decade, which is an awful long time. Like, we are in 2022, we're talking about another 8 years of sustained, continued success and no substantial drop off from where we are. And other teams will catch us, and they will come up, and it will become harder. And you've got a new player in town in Newcastle, and people can say whatever they want. But if we're talking about this in 4 to 5 years' time, Newcastle
they are most definitely in the conversation. Yeah.
They're in Manchester City, right? And if they won't have Eddie Howe, they'll have whoever is the up and coming bright light in terms of coaching that we see at this moment in time. So, all being told, this is for him as much of a challenge, because he's not going to get this level of challenge in any other league in Europe. Where he goes to Real Madrid, what's his challenge going to be? Barcelona, right? So he's already, his challenge at the moment is Manchester City. Look what's going on. The likelihood is that both ourselves and Manchester City are going to meet in the Champions League final this year. We're going to go head to head right away to at least the last 2 games of the season. And like, let's be honest about it here. If we drop points tomorrow, that doesn't mean the league is over. All it means is that there's a potential for it to only go down to the second last game of the season instead of the last game of the season, right? That level of pressure is either something you enjoy or it's something that ultimately beats you down, right? And I don't think he's the type that will want to hang around if he can't keep the team in a position to challenge for the major honours. And when I say the major honours, I mean the league and the Champions League. For the other teams and the other managers, as I said to you earlier on, it's an awful kick, especially in England, it's an awful kick in the bollocks. I'd say PSG are looking at it going, what do we do next? What do we do next? I'd say PSG are looking at it saying, right, we need to get Pochettino out here. Who can we bring in? We can't get Guardiola. We can't get Klopp. They want the big name. The whole thing is it's a PR exercise, right?
Yeah, well, PSG are on the verge of the owners pulling out anyway, and saying good luck.
I don't think they are, because they've invested so much money and they've made it such a global brand at this stage, and they need it for the Qatar World Cup, and they've also invested heavily in UEFA so that they basically have their own organisation at this stage. So in my mind, what PSG need is a European Cup, and I'd say there's only about 6 managers in Europe capable of winning the European Cup.
Zidane is probably the standout one.
Yeah,
that's who they want. Yeah. But Phil mentioned there about revitalising ideas and being open to other people's input. That's all the stuff of being on the training ground, matches, pressure in games, like the pressure that's going into the end of the season. I think he loves all that. What popped into my head about it and it's just, like, it's a fairly practical thing. he does all his post-match stuff from the match yesterday. He does his pre-match stuff before Villarreal with the newspapers and the media and LFC TV, and then he's to do it after the match. Now, tomorrow he's to do it for the Newcastle match before that. He'll have to do the same after, then it rolls into next week. And I'd say, if you're not into that, he's getting asked the same questions. I'd just say, it's just a thing in my head. I was thinking, does that grind on him? Does it grind on him? All that media shite that when you're as good as we are, that you're doing 3 times a week for all different aspects. You've got your own in-house media, you've newspapers, Sunday newspapers, television, press conferences. I'd say it can really fucking like getting your wick like the longer it goes. So that was just kind of one thing that I used to do, like we all did, kind of in the back of your head. He's gone in 2 years, and I was kind of saying he might get a paid his bollocks with all this media and blah 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 and all. But look, obviously he signed on, so it's fucking great. But that was just something that I thought would fucking grind on him, because he's getting that. You're getting asked these same stupid questions, fucking 5 different ways by fellas who just, I'd say some of them you can tell by him. Fucking some of them he's just looking at them going, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, he's every right to, because you know they're walking in there asking questions that have fuck all to do with football at times. You know, and he has kind of leaned where Pep Linders will take press conferences around FA Cup games or League Cup games, or literally putting them in charge for the League Cup at times. And that again, Davo, I think it's a great point, because the English media is incessant compared to the likes of Germany or wherever you might go. It's incessant. It's non-stop. And they're always listen, if someone's incessantly asking you questions but it's interesting to you because it's football related, fine. But in England it's not. They're looking to hang you wherever they fucking can. And I think he's learning all the time. Even though he's in England 6 years, I think he's learning all the time how to deal with them, how to stand back when he needs to, how to go in when he needs to. And, you know, he's actually really good at it, Davo, because he walks into a room the other day and someone says, yeah, you can be forced to ask Jurgen a question. And straight away he sits down and goes, Jurgen, you know, and he's giving it all that. And, you know, and straight away the whole room was laughing, and he kind of has them in the palm of his hand, you know, despite them asking fucking ridiculous questions at times. Davo, I want to stick with you because, you know, plenty of people on this podcast, on this channel, privately, when we've spoken in our WhatsApp groups, and I'm sure people in the chat, and even in our own Telegram app, would question FSG. What's their ambition? Where did he want to go? What did he want to do? The latest thing was Salah. You know what I mean? And look, I'll hold my hands up. I think FSG have been poor in certain areas over the last 10 years. Why has Phil got a peg stuck to his face? But I've been critical of FSG on certain things over the last 10, 12 years or wherever it might be, right? But you have to hand it to them today, Davo. You have to hand it to them today where, you know, they've got this done. They're part of it. They've got it done. And this is probably, you can't go any higher with the ambition here, Davo. You just can't. Signing this man for this
look at that.
You can't go anywhere.
The FSG out stuff is just like, I actually heard Andy Mitten making a good point about it, that the United journalist on Off the Ball a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, Twitter fans are just transfer junkies. Like, the point he was making was, United fans are behind the team in the ground and blah blah. He said, don't take Twitter as a thing. He says they're transfer junkies, and that's what an awful lot of our FSG out are. They're transfer junkies. They look at envy at other clubs who sign X, Y, and Z. City, you'd probably get Haaland to be fucking a few kicking and screaming, why didn't we go from? So it's fucking like, do you know what I mean? They're just all they want is shiny new toys. They don't want to get behind the club. FSG have always been fairly upfront. Yeah, they've made mistakes, Gav, ticket pricing and Super League and furlough. Of course they have. They've made mistakes, but they've always been open and upfront. They'll spend what they earn. They won't fucking. But they've always said there, if there's a signing to be made, money will be made available. So also, I think that contributes to how Liverpool are viewed doing their business by other clubs and other agents. That, you know what I mean? We've got a great name of Michael Edwards and now he's moving on, but instead of going out and fucking telling everyone you've a load of money burning a hole in your pocket, if you keep your powder dry, you probably have a better chance of the negotiating table. So I wouldn't pay for it. FSG have gone. They've no choice, Gav. If Klopp walked in and goes, I want $1 million a week, they would have to give it to him. because he wants a new contract. Do you know what I mean? But like everyone was sensible. He was obviously going to give him whatever he wanted. Money that came out early from Joyce. That money wasn't an issue, and they got it done.
They have got it done, and like Emma, I'll come to you because Klopp makes a point in saying that when you're doing these contract negotiations, it's a two-way street. You know, FSG have to be happy with him, which is ridiculous. Like, of course they're going to be. But the point he's making here is that they have to be happy with him and what he does and his way of doing things, and he has to be happy with them and the way they do things and the way they the way they carry out their business. And he kind of makes, without saying it, he said it like, we're really, really on the same page. We respect each other. We pull in the same direction. So he's kind of knocking a few things out of the park here where, you know, people would say, oh, Klopp is being held back by this and that and the other. But overall, with the owners, it does look, Emmet, like, and from everything Klopp's saying, you have to take it at face value when he's doing this sort of interview, when he's made this commitment to the club, that A, he's completely happy with how things are ran, and B, he's definitely getting backed because he's not doing another 4 years with this squad, which means in order to compete at the level that he wants to compete at, which he's doing at currently, he is going to have to make changes in the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, most definitely. And in order to do that, I mean, he's going to have to be backed heavily.
Yeah, 100%. These, like Davo said, these transfer junkies on Twitter, like they all think that the book stops with FSG, but it's not always FSG that decide that we're not signing players. Klopp, we've seen it. Klopp just doesn't go out and sign players for the sake of signing players. I think he's only ever really been verbally frustrated once, and I think it was maybe last January with the whole defence. Other than that, there's never been a peep out of him. So, like you said, he's not going to put pen to paper to sign up for 4 to 4 years of it if they haven't given him some sort of assurances. But again, just because we don't sign players doesn't mean it's FSG not giving money. It's obviously not suitable for Klopp. Like, we've seen it. He's held out for Van Dijk rather than going and buying somebody else. He or his team come up with targets, and if they're available, great, we go get them. If they're not available, we keep our powder dry and go again the next transfer window. But it's not buying for the sake of buying. It's not having a 300 million bench every week, 200 million worth of defenders on the pitch every week. It's not just buying to keep the fans happy. Klopp and the team behind them buy to suit our system. Other teams buy to suit their fans. And I prefer it the way that we're doing it. I can't say that I never came close to being FSG. There were some frustrating times, but like, you take a step back, and if Klopp's happy, we should all be happy.
Phil, you know, everything looks really rosy in the garden at the minute for Liverpool. Playing side, off the pitch, managers, owners, wherever it might be, it looks really good. But where do you see him evolving this side now? Because he is going to have to do that. He is going to have to make tough decisions on players that he's been really loyal to, have done really well for him, and are probably hitting that stage in their career where he needs to change them. Is that the reason behind the timing of this decision? He hasn't left it another year, and left it. He wants to give himself, you know, he would have had, if he'd have left it and you're kind of going, he's only a year and a half left, or a year left, you're kind of going, when's this changing? But the evolution of the squad, Phil, is going to probably accelerate here, because now everyone around the world knows, Phil, that he's there for 4 years, and it's easier to make decisions when you have 4 years left rather than a year left and people wondering.
The next evolution of the team is they're taking it to Germany. They're moving from the Premier League to the Bundesliga because it's just easier.
Correct.
That's why he's decided to stay, because he gets to manage Liverpool and play in Germany most of the time, right? So it's just this handy. I like Liverpool. Be here for 19 games a year. Then the rest of the games are in Germany, so I get a bit of Germany and the whole lot. So we're flying. The job is done. I don't know. Next evolution will be interesting. We've seen Kanate is obviously the long term nailed down centre back that's there. We've got Diaz, we've got Jota, we've got Like, to me, Salah's another 6-year player. If we sign him, like, he's the type of player he is. As much as his pace is a strength, it's not his core strength. Like, his quickness of thought and his quickness of execution is just as important. So for me, Salah's has 6 years left in him. He's 29, so 35 easy, right? So he's around all this time, and then you can see they slowly evolve the team. When I say slowly, they replace with players that, and it's the one thing, Shane, you know, and I've been saying it for years, it was one of the things that drove me mad. They replace players now with players capable of replacing what's in the first team, right? For years we didn't. For years we just signed players because we needed left back.
We padded out stuff,
yeah. So Tsimikas, I know people mightn't agree with this, but Tsimikas is an equal to Robertson when he's in the team. Robertson's a smashing player, and that's not to denigrate Robertson. But from what I've seen in Tsimikas this year, there hasn't been a drop-off when he's been in the team. And in some ways, he has different pros to Robertson. I think Klopp has eminent faith for everything Robertson has done, and we know how brilliant he is. And he's like, the goal he scores against Everton is an example. He's that little bollocks of a player. Do you know what I mean? He's that, and that's what he has. But Tsimikas is a head case as well. He's got crazy eyes, and
he's grey hair when he grows it.
Grey hair, crazy eyes, and he is. But then you look at the centre backs. We've gone from having a traffic cone and a regen of FIFA last year to having Kanate, Matip, Van Dijk, and Gomez as our 4 centre backs. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's think about what's happened here. You look at our midfield, and as I've said it, a huge doubts over the availability issue that we had with Keita. And then I was wondering, could he be smart enough to adapt to the role he has? He's been fantastic this season. This is the 4th season we've had in the 4 years he's been here that he's actually truly adapted to the system and has had a massive part to play in terms of what's going on. And when I say massive part, I'm not just talking about the cameos that he put in and went missing for 3 or 4 games and was injured and then came in and did well and then disappeared out again. We're talking about sustained impact across the course of a season, and not just from scoring goals or through balls, but in terms of tactically and being aware and adding to what goes on in that team. And then you look at the fellow with the mad name. He looks like he could potentially be a Henderson replacement. We know they've they've also looked at they were heavily in for your man Gravenberch, you know, off Ajax as well. That was there.
Linked to Bayern now at 25 million.
Yeah. So, but 25 million to me is our range, and people don't like this. But
it's not that. It's the amount being paid after that.
Yeah,
but Gav, another Raiola.
You know, Gav. I've been on here and I've gotten pelters of people in the comments because I refused, even when we were going through the madness, to slag off FSG, because I said, if you don't understand how this club is set up, or you don't understand how the model is run, there's no point screaming your head off saying I want the £100 million signing, because this team is being built around the idea that you can find value of equal players at lesser prices, and that's what it is. Unless you can't find that player, they will go and spend. They will have a board. And you know, I'm obsessed with the draft tonight, but they have a board of players that says, we need a centre forward. Here's 5 players that we judge to be of equal basis. And only in the event that there's one player that they don't believe is so far above everybody else will they go and spend it. Van Dijk is an example. Alisson is an example. Fabinho is an example. And every single one of those examples have proved that they were right in setting the bar and saying we were happy to go above that. Every other player below that has proved that they were right not to go to this level. They get Salah for less than 40 million, Mane for less than 40 million. They get Jota for less than 30 million. They get Diaz.
Jota is 40, just above 40.
With add-ons.
Yeah.
With add-ons. They didn't pay for it. The 40 is if we win
the league. We're only paying them a $5 a week, I think, and a few
stamps.
Exactly,
a few stamps. And a bus.
They have our doll book. They follow us down to the office when we pick up our doll and they take it off us.
But I go back to it and say this is the culmination of what's been going on, and now we see. And as I said, I would get upset if we went 3, 4, 5 seasons and we weren't bringing these players in that were taking the place in the first team, putting those questions there, going, who was our best front three? 3 years ago, who was our best front three? It was we knew Now we have a question mark on, okay, well, we've had to move Mane to play in this middle position because Diaz is so good and we don't want to move him out. We want Jota to come in and play from that. Okay, Jesus. And actually now we've got Salah. Well, Salah we know can fit in the middle as well, and you can play this fella here and you can move this fella. We didn't have that. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the evolution. This becomes a squad game. And that's forgetting Harvey Elliott, who's capable of playing in with that group of lads as well. Right? He was just unfortunate in terms of the injury he picked up. Let's not forget how much we were all in on Harvey Elliott at the start of the season. Those 4 state games, that kid was fucking phenomenal in the way he was playing and the way he was executing the football on the pitch. And we could see that he could play in midfield and in the top 3. Listen, this is a credit to the way the club's been run, to the structures that FSG put in place, to the beliefs and the values they've had to retain themselves as competitive. And don't forget that stadium has been fully redeveloped and a training ground has been built out of it. So when you're talking about building for the future and you're talking about getting at FSG because they haven't signed this week's shiny object from the top shelf, this club has been put on a sustainable footing that if FSG walked away tomorrow, Liverpool could continue in the way and the means that they are today. The ownership is irrelevant. What the club generates now is what's driving forward with this. And on the top of all this, we have one of the top managers in the world.
No,
if
the
not the
top
best.
manager.
No, I'm just being sort of trying to take the bias away. I've said it on record. I'm on record. I think he is by far the best manager in the world. I think he's a better manager and a better manager than Pep, purely because he's able to do it without having to spend billions to get to where he was, right? To dominate what it is. So for me, that's why this is the culmination. This is the happy moment for the players, for the fans. Dion Fanning wrote after Rafa went back in 2010 that Liverpool fans will look back on the Rafa period as a golden period in football. The Rafa period now looks like what you'd expect. It's the minimum standard that we'd expect as a Liverpool fan. What we're looking at is the golden period, the titanium period, the diamond period. We've hit every fucking seam. We found Australia and hit every single seam of minerals and oils and everything that's available to us. This is it. Because I can't see us being able to replicate this when he does step back. But genuinely, this is it. Lap it in.
That might be the best 5 minutes you've ever said in any pod of all time, Phil.
Well, I'll tell you something. He's gone down in my estimation because he's usually one cantankerous cunt, and he's turned completely the other way, and I don't know what way to take it. I'm going to be honest with you. Rory Fitzgerald says, and I bring this one to you, Davo. Great show, gents. You wonder if some agents of prospective signings have been asking if Klopp is staying. Today's news might see our summer business concluded in the next few days or weeks. Davo, I want kind of a double-edged question here because we've been linked with Tchouaméni. There's a load of things about Bellingham. Your man Nunes off Benfica has been linked. But you look at other players in the squad, the likes of Mane, who you've heard nothing really about his contract. Firmino, Keita and Salah, obviously, as the standout. How much of those possible renewals of contracts and possible players coming in has kind of hinged on people saying, let's just see what's going on with his future before we do anything?
Yeah, well, I suppose when you're coming down to having 2 years left, the manager, and players generally come in but sign a 4-year contract, I'm sure questions will be getting asked from Salah, from Mane, like to the club. Sure, anyone would. What's happening with Klopp? Is he going? Is he staying? Before they sign it or before they start negotiating. Now, listen, that doesn't look. If they had turned around and said, "Yeah, Klopp is definitely going," I'm not sure Mane storms out going, "Right, that's me. I'm not signing." And like, obviously, some of them would sign on. It depended on if everything else was to their liking. But I definitely think your point on agents around Europe, players around Europe they all want to play for Liverpool. So if Liverpool are interested in one of them, I'm sure they're obviously asking the same questions again. Listen, is Klopp staying? I might come here in a 5-year contract. If he's only here for 2, what's happening? So I'm not sure about it concluding our business kind of early. Like, we're generally, was mentioned in the comments earlier, like I remember I was away, I remember flicking around my phone, linked with Fabinho. 5 minutes later, he's holding the jersey then and fucking in a Melwood at the time. I was like, fucking hell. Like, yeah, we tend not to have these long drawn out ones. I know the Van Dijk thing kind of got away from us a bit. Canate, that kind of seemed as like we had a free run on him. It was kind of done fairly early, and then everyone seemed to just now look at he's going to Liverpool, leave it at that. Could be the same with this Xiaomani
The
fella.
word about Xiaomani is that teams in Spain have looked at him, okay, and other teams in the Premier League have looked for him and have been basically told. And the quote coming out is the Premier League teams are kind of being rebuffed apparently, but the word coming from Spain is that yes, we have looked at them, and yes, clubs have looked at them, but the pull from the Premier League is extremely strong at the minute and will be a hard one to break. So. That could be Liverpool.
Well, look, listen, Shawnee will be the man to talk Spanish football in this, but if Madrid are bringing in Mbappe, for the what wages he's going to come in on, he's probably going in there on $500,000 a week, you'd imagine. Like, can they afford? I know Xiaomani wouldn't command that much in wages, but I'm sure, look, they always do a bit of wheeling and dealing. Perez is like Del Boy in a Spanish suit, but fucking, like... But what I mean is their focus is going to be, because there's still the rumour is that Mbappe, he might stay, PSG, blah, blah, blah. He's going to go to Madrid. But their focus will be on getting him in the door, I would imagine, first, and getting him all tied up before looking at anything else. So maybe we can swoop in there and get a deal done for him. But listen, all the things that we've all waxed lyrical about fucking since we come on, nobody should be worried. Whatever business we do will be the right business.
That'll be it. You need to be taking up cigars at this stage. Like, this fella signed the 2026 grand of cigars because it's going to be fucking great.
Yeah.
And listen, I actually thought about it today, and I thought to myself, if it went wrong in 18 months' time, it went wrong, and he was having a run like he had at Dortmund, I don't want to see him going through a long, drawn-out fucking thing. I want Liverpool fans to back him till the end of the season, regardless. And then Klopp to say, look, it's not working enough. I want him to go out on with the highest respect. I don't want like, if he stays to 2026 and he wins a load of trophies, we'll have an absolute party when he leaves. For him, it'd be a bit of a wake as well, but it'd be an absolute party for the man that is Jurgen Klopp. But if it was to go wrong, I don't want to see it. I don't want the media to take over what Liverpool fans actually think of him. 450 odd people watching, 148 likes. Hit that like button if you're happy that Jurgen Klopp is at Liverpool 2026. So that should rattle up right fucking now, by the way. Emmet, just on the supporter side of it, we've seen the reaction. We've seen the reaction on social media today. I was in the ground for Liverpool versus Everton, and the love for that man is just ridiculous. A mate of mine I actually met up the road earlier, who's just come back. He was on the boat back today after watching Liverpool versus Villarreal, and he was just like, they just adore the man. And he's a long-term Liverpool fan. Like, it's not like he's just turned up once and went, wow, they really like him. What's the effect on the fan base here, Emmet? Because the way I look at it is, I've said it before, I think he's the biggest influence on Liverpool Football Club since Paisley, right? In a footballing sense, in the team he's built. I don't think he's the biggest person at Liverpool since Paisley. I think Kenny Dalglish is overall in the whole club ever, in my opinion. But just for the fan base, Emmet, he signed a new deal. They just fucking adore the man. He's on a pedestal where probably he's up there with any of them, and he's given them another 4 years, and he's given them on the day after they're basically 1 foot in another European Cup final. They're 5 games possibly from a league title. They're in an FA Cup final, and they have a League Cup already in there. Like, it's monumental. I used the word earlier, Emma. It really is monumental.
No, it is. He's adored, and it's right from day one when he came in, when he claimed that he was the normal one. He just, like, it's like the fans got him and he got the fans. And I know he had a little go at them, and you need to get behind the team and stuff like that. But it's just like he's like the man of the people. He's doing something right when even other fans of other teams actually love him. Do you know what I mean? You're normally supposed to hate the manager of your rivals, but everybody loves him. You can't not love him. I met him in person over at a game outside the Titanic Hotel, and he had time for absolutely everybody. Like you have seen other managers, not necessarily Liverpool managers, and they just kind of nearly shun the fans. But he literally came over and started talking, took a little selfie with the little lad and everything. But yeah, I'm dreading it. Like I said earlier on, I'm dreading the day he goes. I'm thankful that it's now 4 years away rather than 2. But yeah, he said right from the start, turn doubters into believers, and I think people would be lying if they said before he came in that we were doubters. We definitely were. We're 30 barren years, and he came in and turned us into believers and did exactly what he said he'd do. So yeah, definitely, he's definitely getting a statue anyway, and I think they should maybe stick his wife beside him on it as well.
Oh, there's a good chance she get it before him at this stage. The way this news is broken today, you know, he's probably dropped down the list and she's shot right up the list, you know. But Phil, like, we'll finish up in a couple of minutes because we wanted to do an hour. But like, what does he mean? What does he mean to the club? Like,
I was just thinking of Emmet outside the Titanic Hotel. I was just there going, did he get the sinking feeling when Klopp was there?
Don't mention the Titanic because Carl Turley's probably watching and he has a massive conspiracy over that.
Is that hotel close to Everton's ground? Because it just seems to be
it's not a million miles. I don't know the docks that well, but it's not a million miles along the docks from it.
Did you look under the water? Because it's just down there. If you look carefully, you can see their stadium. It's great. I'd say there's gonna be goodness gonna be burnt down tonight. They're not even gonna get to the end of the season. They're gonna be able to fulfill the fixtures. They'll have to be playing in Stanley Park with lads just around the ground with rope up around after tonight. They'll be just throwing themselves out.
There's been some crackers today. Like, one United fan said, Klopp signs a new deal. I'm not worried. We've appointed a younger manager who's hungry for success. Ten Hag is 2 years younger than Jurgen Klopp. He's 50 and then an Everton fan, when it was like they were saying Liverpool have won. I think it was something like Liverpool have won more games in the Champions League this season than Everton, and his response was something like, "Oh yeah, but we haven't." I think it was something like, we've more stadiums. We've built more stadiums.
No, he was talking about Anfield being Everton's before that.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Well, we never pulled down houses," and they were like, "Well, I think you did." And they showed them loads of stuff before the '66 World Cup where Everton literally demolished about 3 housing estates to rebuild Goodison Park, and they're absolutely heads falling off and exploding everywhere. Is this the biggest thing, Phil? Is this actually the biggest thing? You know, we love it. We're like riding this crest of this wave, and I'll ride it till there's no more riding in it, right? But the reaction of other people is just fucking mental.
It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. As I said, you can just sit back and enjoy it. Look, we know that ultimately at the end of it, it's going to be horrible, right? That's like the endings are always horrible in football, no matter what way you go about it. And you have to take a time out at the end of it then to really, truly realise and enjoy what was there before. Very rarely does the manager ride off into the sunset and everyone just celebrates the fact that it is. I think maybe only Hitzfeld at Bayern was the one that managed to get the glory and go out because he wins the treble and he wins the European Cup and the Cup and the league and goes off in terms of celebrating. So for me, yeah, this is it. This is the moment, right? My only, like you're saying, Gav, why can't there be a cantankerous fuck? The only thing that I had in my head coming on tonight was every time a manager signs a contract that's flying, the next few games tends to be an absolute cat's abortion in terms of what happens for them, right? And that's the last thing we need to happen right now at this moment.
But you know what? It's funny you've mentioned that, Phil, because look, I'm all over the quadruple. I have been for fucking months and months and months, right? And we may have one trophy now, and we may have one at the end of the season, right? But it's the power of this extension for me, where we could lose on Saturday and the league's over, right?
Yeah.
We could lose a European Cup final, and we could lose an FA Cup final, and we'd be devastated to lose all three, right? But this is different for me, Phil. This isn't Rodgers in 13-14. This isn't even Rafa in 08-09. This is where you go, lads, it's horrible. It didn't happen for us, but that man will have us absolutely flying again at the start of next season. That's the confidence you have. That's where the difference is, Phil.
Look, the way I look at it is, and I've been sort of getting back into basketball lately, and but not like in terms of mad ranting, but just sort of reading up about it and reading the stories and stuff that comes out, and also the great coaches. And Phil Jackson is somebody that
you're going to say reading the rules and all.
Yeah. Learning about how you put the ball in the
Just you have
basket.
to bounce it,
Yeah.
and you have to throw
And
it.
if you're really tall, it's very helpful because
Yeah,
you're closer to the ring than if you're small, because it's much farther to go if you're really small. However, some of the greatest coaches have come in, and
That's
some
why I
of the
never made it, Phil. That's why I never made it.
Well, if you could have played basketball in the World Games, Gav, where they lowered the basket a wee bit, right?
Oh my God! Phil's trying to get me in the World Games here. For fuck's sake.
Playing basketball of all things.
Jesus Christ. Basketball, yeah.
It's actually called basketball. The baskets are slightly bigger, and you get thrown through the hoop yourself. So remember, the World Games are slightly different.
Any limbo going?
Yeah. But the one thing that reminds, now honestly, right, all joking aside, Phil Jackson, think about what he did as a coach with the Bulls and with the Lakers in terms of, right, I think he won 12 or 14 rings or whatever it was in terms of championships, right? Now, I was reading his book, the 11 Rings, The Soul of Success, because he has a strange philosophy on winning and the art. His whole thing was about finding zen on the basketball court, and it wasn't just about winning, it's about the journey, it's about the ride, it's about everything that goes on, right? So there's one quote that stands out. I know, look, I don't generally prep for podcasts, but this time tonight I did because it is a big moment, right? And to me, it just sums Klopp up. Whenever you hear him talk about at press conferences, whatever it was, when he talks about football, when he engages the media, engages the fans, that's why we're able to buy into it, right? And it's what Jackson says, and it says, while Klopp mightn't say it himself, it always seems to me that this is the way he sees the game or sees how football should be played and how the players should be responding. And I think that's why the players love him and why they respond to him and they understand what's there. So Jackson said that at the start of the season, I always encourage the players to focus on the journey rather than the goal, right? What matters most is playing the game the right way and having the courage to grow as humans as well as basketball players. When you do that, the ring takes care of itself. And you think about the way Klopp goes on about the fans, the club, the people, and then you think of the way the players are. Think of the personality of the players. We don't have an arsehole. You know the way there's dickheads, right? There's fellas that come across as dickheads as players, like, do you know what I mean? You can't say that about any of the Liverpool players at this moment in time. Every single one of them comes across, it's almost as a genuine human. They are auras of the manager. You know what I mean? Like every single one of them seems to be absolutely sound as a pound. Like you can't think, he seems a bit of a dick now. I'd say that he's a right arsehole when you're out there. There's nobody like this, right?
How much of those though are they probably are a bit of a dickhead, but this group won't allow it. Or actually, I'll go the other way and say we don't sign dickheads because it's just the way we work.
But that's it. That's what I'm trying to say. The idea that there's this philosophy and a mentality that's at the club, and it just takes me to these great teams. Some teams are built on conflict and anger and rage. You look at Simeone's Atletico Madrid's team. I'd say about 11 of the 10 players that go out on the pitch.
11 of the 10 players?
Yeah. are probably absolutely bananas when they go out on the thing, right? Like think about, look at the lads that are there. Think of all the players that play. You just get that sense, right? That for them, it's about killing everyone. With Klopp, it's not. It's about enjoying the process, right? The process and the journey and the game and the execution is as important as winning the trophies. And when he talks about next match, we only think about the next match. I used to buy it. Over the last 2 to 3 years, I completely buy this, right? I totally buy into it. I believe in that's the way he approaches it, and I genuinely do. And I think the players, by him, it's like you can't live a falsity, and he doesn't live that. He lives the way he is everywhere. That isn't put on. That's who he is, and that makeup is what then imbues into the rest of the team and the rest of the squad. And if I'm Michael Edwards, I can see within the first 2 years the type of players that I need to bring in, because these are the type of players that Klopp responds to and brings through and everything like that. And to me, this is it. This is the journey, and this is why I'm celebrating this stuff, right? Because if we don't win another trophy, I'm still going to be able to say this is the best Liverpool team that's ever been, that we've ever seen, right? And I'm going to absolutely never forget how good this team is. And as I said to you, my only you
won't forget come the 29th of May because you'll have 4 trophies.
But that's it, Gav. And to me, what did I say to you going back to December? Hopefully before 2024 we'll win another league title and possibly another Champions League. But I wanted 2 league titles over Champions League, and that to me remains the goal. If he can get 2 league titles before 2024 with that Manchester City team, that's immense. Immense.
It is immense because, like, you know, I was only thinking about this last week. When Liverpool were there in the 70s, there was good sides. There was good sides in the 70s. You look at the Forest side in the 70s, were good. They won 2 European Cups at the back end of 78, 79, I think, did he? No, they won 79 and 80, somewhere around there.
80, I think.
You know, and when you go through the 80s, you know, Everton were a really good side in the mid-80s. Really good side in the mid-80s. Arsenal were really good in the late 80s. But this is different. This isn't a good side. This is a fucking juggernaut you're up against. This is relentless resources you're up against. And not only one of them, but 2 of them, when you actually look at it up until a couple of weeks ago, more or less relentless resources. Now, one of them at the moment is they're trying to sell because of what's going on around the world, and it's outside of football. Now you have a third one coming in Newcastle. That I agree with Phil. I think in 4 to 5 years they're going to be right in the conversation. Probably less than that. Manchester United are an absolute juggernaut financially. They're an absolute fucking mess everywhere else. But if they get it right, you're up against them as well. You know the sort of way. And I think when you add it all in, I still think the 87-88 side is one of the best sides I've ever seen. And that's probably a bias because I can only remember Liverpool from 86. So 87-88 just blew my fucking mind. You know what I mean? Like, I was running around trying to kick the ball with my left foot all the time because John Barnes was the best thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And it was probably a reason why I could kick a ball with both feet, because John Barnes kicked it with his left, didn't he? But this one, I kind of err on the side of Phil. What they're up against and what they've produced, forget trophies, what the quality they've produced and how far they've gone in competitions against what they're up against now. I think you're right. I think I might edge them as probably the best Liverpool side you've ever seen. And when you couple in the fact that the man that's had a huge part in this is going to turn around and go, let's go for another 4. Let's go for another 4 years. Let's, over the next 6 or 12, 18 months, whatever it might be, 12 months, make a couple of signings where we can go, yeah, let's go for it. We'll put these through the ringer for another 3 years after this. What?
When you look at it, right, you're talking about them other teams coming in and what we could be up against and all that. When you look at it, really, you're looking at, with these 2 teams, right, and let's assume that we continue on the road that we're on there with points tallies and whatnot. You're looking, don't even think about winning the league unless you're going to come in at 94, 95 points.
No.
So if you were a Man United, if you're a Newcastle or a Chelsea,
2.5 points a game. Davo.
Yeah, like you like don't even be thinking about winning it with high 80s, because it's not going to happen. Like we're in a situation now, as Phil was saying earlier, we could drop points, blah blah blah. I think before the City game, we'd won 10 in a row. Had we in the league?
Yep.
You made this point 2 weeks ago.
We drew with City, and we might win all our other games.
You made this point.
17 wins and 1 draw, and you don't win the league.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking scandalous.
That's the one.
Like, when you think of it, it's scandalous.
You said this 2 weeks ago, and it's the one thing that stuck with me. And I actually said it to a guy in Liverpool. I was sitting drinking in a pub on Friday night, with a load of locals. There were all locals in this pub. I got talking to this guy, and we're talking about it, and I said, my mate told me last week that Liverpool could win 17 and draw 1 of the last 18 games and not win a league title. He went, it's bizarre, innit? It's actually fucking.
But that's my point, is that all the other teams can look at it and go, yeah, we're going to have a go, and we have a new manager, and Ten Hag is in, and Chelsea are getting sold, and Newcastle are coming and all that. Unless you were able to bring that kind of form into it, you may forget about it.
It's a huge leap, and okay, people can make the leap. We've seen them make the leap. Leicester, not so much, 77 points, I think, wins the league for them that season. But we've seen teams make that leap, but it's staying there. Like Liverpool's last couple of seasons, right? 97 points, 99 points. They still make 3rd place on, was it 80-ish points? When they made 3rd place, where we played 21 different centre-back partnerships. And now we're sitting on, how many points are we sitting on now with 5 to go?
78, isn't it?
78. We have a possibility we win. Yeah, it's 79. We can win. We can hit 94 points if we win our last 5 games. We could win 17 of our last 18 and not win the league. That's the difference. And that's where, people will say consistency. Like, 97 points wins that league title probably 25, 26 times out of the last 30 years. 99 points wins it 28 times out of the last 30 years. I think Chelsea have done 99. I think City have done 100. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that 99 points that we do, by the way, if someone was a little bit more competitive, or we weren't on the gargle for 7 games, because if City have pushed us a bit more, we would have only been on the gargle for 3 games. We would have done 108 points, in my opinion. Easy, right? And even last season, we're all that. We still go in with that, and we're still looking at 94. And you'd be amazed if Liverpool don't break 90 points again this season. But what's left? That's the jump is grand. It's staying there.
I remember
it's like climbing to the top of Everest and then balancing on the very top and keeping that balance over a prolonged period of time. I just think, and he is so fucking integral, Davo.
Yeah, look, I've no problem, Gav. I'll hold my hands up. I thought when City beat Chelsea going back at the Etihad, that 1-0 game, I thought it was done, that they'd win it. But the funny thing was, after the game, and it was kind of a rare time that a footballer kind of doesn't play a question with a straight back. Your man kind of said to him, you kind of can't be reeled in now, can you? And he just kind of went, well, look at...
Kev De Bruyne, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was De Bruyne. He says, look, probably not, because if there is someone to reel us in, they're going to have to be perfect. Yeah. And we're staring down the barrel of fucking 17 wins and a draw if we do what we're capable of doing for the last few games, and not win it because we want to be imperfect, but for us to pull it back in a 14-point gap is phenomenal. It's just fucking phenomenal.
You used to be able to win the league, win it, or losing no more than 5 or 6 games.
Yep. 6 games was your limit.
Now you have a draw, and you have to seriously think you're banging trouble. Like.
I'm gonna have to buy him a mic that he literally straps to the side of his head. Go on, Emma.
I was just saying that even a draw now feels like a loss.
3 is your limit now.
Yeah.
Because 3 draws and 3 defeats drop you 9 points, and 3 draws would drop you 6, would be 15 points, would be about 99 points. So you can probably afford 3 losses and maybe 5 draws, 6 draws. So you're only dropping points in 9 games. You have to win 29 to 30 league games.
There was a time that 90 points guaranteed the league.
Oh, 100%.
Up until this, times 90 points guarantees the league until these 2 teams appear.
It is. Phil's brother Derek is in the chat here. He says, Phil Casey has spoken so well, expressed how I feel about Klopp extending today. Thanks, Phil, for expressing those thoughts. I'll buy you a pint if you have the pleasure of meeting you. All
Phil's
the best. Phil's brother.
If he watches next week, he'll smack me with a point.
Yeah,
so
Derek's comment next week, just so you know, right? It's like Bernie Stokes here. I'll fucking predict the future. He'll turn around Derek next week and go, "That Phil is a fucking prick," right? When and it won't be even a week's time. It'll be Monday night, no doubt about it. Laura Duffy says on the next pod, Phil has a mic strapped to his head like a unicorn. It will come to that. Hang on.
There is something in progress at this moment. So look, to see this is being developed out. We'll have actually a proper mic set up here where it'll look like it's actually.
You've brought that from the studio, haven't you?
I actually have my arm and all sorted out here. I just need to get the mixer back in, and then I'm full on back on the radio.
You robbed that. I robbed the telly.
I know, you have to tell you.
It's all happening now.
I have to pick up the Mac during the week.
Yeah, the Mac is still there. It's still alive by the looks of it. But look, finally, lads, before I move on, because that was probably walking about 11 minutes.
20 minutes.
20 minutes. That was walking 20 minutes. Davo, I'll come to you first then.
Starting at 12. I need to get on to ESPN.
I know, yeah. And I'm. Do you know what I really want? I really want a crisp sandwich.
Oh, I had one earlier on.
What you have?
With salt and vinegar, O'Donnell's crisps.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
Whopper. Love it. I've the multi-pack potato in there, you know, with smoky bacon thing, right? Plus there's batch bread in the fucking press.
Do you know what I have? I have a packet, like a bumper pack of scampi fries and bacon fries up in the press in here. My
Are
missus
they on the side of the press where they hang and you pull them off
Yeah.
in the pub? Are they?
yeah,
Oh
if I
my
could
God.
take us around and show, it's a proper pub when it hangs out on the side of the press. So when you open them, they're there.
Phil has his milk, and you know the bottles that hang downwards, and you push
Yeah.
the thing up, and his milk comes out in the morning. But no, Davo, quickly come to you. We've spoken loads about how good it was today, what it means in the future, but and how you feel. But I'm gonna ask you again, Davo. You hide behind the sofa. You call
Yep.
Liverpool. You call Liverpool complacent after 3 minutes if a ball goes out of play for a throw. You literally fucking tell us after 4 minutes of most games, fucking we're not winning this. These are shy. But in all seriousness, Davo, it's just a fucking brilliant day for Liverpool Football Club, regardless of what happens between now and the end of the season, which could be amazing or which could be shy. It's a brilliant, brilliant day for Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah, and I think today ensures us staying at the very, very top level for the duration that he's here. That's what I think. I know you mentioned kind of drop off and stuff like that. I can't see it. I think he obviously signed on because he's happy about how they work together. The FSG himself, all the lads, Mike Gordon, this new lad in to replace Michael Edwards. I'm sure they're all happy working together. And yeah, brilliant. I think it ensures us to stay fighting because look, we've now the fine right to win anything. You don't. All you can be is in the mix, and I think that'll keep us in the mix, definitely.
Good stuff. Emmet, we're going to bounce into this weekend in Newcastle. We're going to bounce into Villarreal next Tuesday night. And we're just going to bounce until the end of the season. And whatever happens, happens. But this is the little insurance policy, isn't it? Where we know we're coming back again next year and the year after and the year after. And as much as it is good for us, everyone else around us is going, fuck me, they're coming back next year and the year after and the year after that.
Well, if I said to you 2 weeks ago, we won't win another trophy, but Klopp will sign up till 2026, would you have taken it?
No, I'm so committed to this quadruple, I don't know.
I was thinking about that today. I was like, if somebody offered me a few weeks ago Klopp to sign till 2026 or the quadruple, I don't know what I would have picked, if I'm being honest. It's absolutely massive. Look, the crowds have already been hopping. They have his new song. It's ringing out every game. Like, they'll be twice as loud now from the rafters up in St. James's Park on Saturday morning. Every single game is just going to be absolutely hopping and bouncing. And again, look, regardless of what happens between now and the end of the season, this is massive. But I'm with you. We're going to do the quadruple. But it's just that little bit of extra backing now from the crowd. They're going to be the place is going to be on wheels with that news today.
Owen Bucks has Gav, if you released a reunion pod, which we don't have, by the way, and Phil
What's the reunion pod?
Do you remember the reunion pod, what we done with Trev, and Trev fell asleep during it, and the foil was all over the place. It was actually, we couldn't do anything with it. He said if you release it, everyone would donate to Féileacáin, hit 10,000 faster than Freddie Mercury got Bob Geldof to 1 million. Like, Phil, do we have the reunion pod? I don't think we have.
I don't think we have it.
Yeah.
We might have it though, but I don't think we have it.
But none of it is broadcastable.
No, because Trev got drunk.
Trev got drunk and fell asleep.
Yeah.
Nilo showed up and literally said, like, literally libelous stuff about everybody.
Everyone
for an hour and a half solid.
Yeah.
But
I just want to say, Neverman is telling me all. Neverman, I have a sense that you may be Neil Gray, because I know for a fact that Neil Gray has an uncle in Birmingham, Alabama, and that's where he's going with me.
Okay, it could be.
But so he's telling me where to go there, and what he forgets is that he's already told me this.
Yeah. So Neil's mental. Yeah, Neil forgets what he said. But look, lads, we're going to leave it there. Féileacáin, I do want to mention though, it is our charity partner. It is a fantastic charity. I'm fucking repeating myself every single night of the week, but I don't give a fuck. I'll keep doing it until we get to 10k. It is a fantastic, fantastic charity that helps bereaved parents that have lost children during pregnancy or soon after birth. It's €10,000, which is a lot of money to a vast majority of people, and that's fine. But in the realms of charity out there and what the work they do, it's not that much. And what that 10k could do for this charity would literally keep them going for years. And you know something, I'm absolutely thrilled with this Klopp news today. Like, I'm overjoyed with this Klopp news today, because, like, my wife literally said to me today, Klopp signed a new deal. The Guinness, you're going out to buy fucking Guinness, aren't you? Like, she knows I'm on this fucking mad journey this season, and if I say quadruple to her one more time, she will just give me a bleed slap in the head, like, and a dig, not even a slap, a dig. But you know what? If I got to that 10k, it'd make me happier than what I've done today. Genuinely, if I can get to 10, if I and us and everybody watching this can get Féileacáin to €10,000, it would be way happier. I'll be way happier than that announcement today. I'll be way happier than any trophy we've won already this season, or could win, or will win towards the end of the season. And that's how strongly I feel about it. So the link is in the description. Every euro counts. Every fiver, a tenner. You know, I don't know, if you're giving up smokes, instead you're not paying the money for the smokes, put the tenner in. But if you can't, that's fine. Please share it amongst all your family, all your friends. I know Phil is doing, I think Phil's going around the world in 80 days with Richard Branson in July, and he said he's going to give all the money to us, or to Féileacáin, and that's absolutely cool. There's a big sponsor that are helping us out with the golf day, and they're about to donate what I would call a significant amount of money in this this push for 10,000. That should arrive within the next week. That will push us towards way over the halfway point. And that's all we're trying to do. And we won't stop until it's done anyway. And we won't stop talking about it. And I won't apologise for it, because I think it's a fantastic voluntary charity. So please have a look in the description. Please donate if you can. And if not, just share it. And when you share it, say to people, look, donate to that if you can. But if not, keep sharing it and keep going. And we will get to the 10k, because we won't stop until we do. So that's everything on Féileacáin. Davo, anything else before we go?
No, all good, Gaff. All good.
Enjoy work, my man.
Thank you.
And I love you immensely. Emmet, anything else before we go?
All good. I've not got to see the full length interview either, so I'm about to go off now and binge on Klopp content for the rest of the night. So
okay. Before you do, show us your Heart Chelsea United jersey.
Phil, I can send this to you if you want to do your marathon or whatever it is you are doing wearing it.
I'm not going. I'm not wearing the jersey. You mad to fucking die, man. That's immense.
Nipple cripple.
Yeah,
that's immense. That is absolutely immense. That
if someone wants to donate some money, I'll post it to them.
Ashley L says, LFC Daytrippers, check out the chat at the very end. Tom Connolly made an incredible offer for Féileacáin. I seen something earlier about that, and I will go back and look at tomorrow, and I will check out Tom Connolly's offer, the offer, and I will promise I'll actually do it as soon as this show is over. While I'm having my crisp sandwich, I will follow up on that. Phil, anything else before you go?
Salah next, please.
Yeah.
Right. Salah next, please, and then whatever happens after that, I'll happily accept. And I know that might be greedy or whatever, but just he's the best player in the world. I just want to keep him. Want to keep him more than anything.
That's more than fair. That is more than fair. It's been a brilliant show tonight, talking about Jurgen Klopp, the past, the present, the future. And the future looks immensely bright for Liverpool after that announcement today that Jurgen Klopp will stay until 2026. As I said, links in descriptions for all sorts of stuff, likes of Féileacáin and stuff. If you're listening on your audio download, you can hit a button to review as well. Give us a 5-star review. Tell everyone that it's really good, and that gets us out there on more podcasts and stuff like that, and more people listen. And to be honest with you, the more people that listen, the more people that help us with the likes of Féileacáin, and the more people can have interaction with us, because we live off the chat that comes up on this screen every night, genuinely. Because, like, genuinely, 4 or 5 or 6 nights a week that we do shows, it's just for spas talking about football, and usually the people in the chat come up with way more better stuff to talk about, and we throw it in there and talk about it. So it's actually absolutely crucial. That has been the FB4 Special. Jurgen Norbert Klopp until 2026. I'd like to dedicate this show to his wife, because without her, none of this could be possible.
And our quotes.
What?
And our quotes.
And our quotes. Over and out.
Pirates.